So we're continuing our discussion on the talks on Advait. Advait is non-dual. The only way Advait can be explained in this fashion, in all the negative way, is because that's all we know. We know only the duality. The duality is where we see all this world which shows all different forms and shapes and size, and all these differences between the animals and the people and the plants and the rocks and the flowers. All these differences is all we know, because it's all perceived by your mind. And the mind perceives the duality. We eat duality, we breathe duality, we go to bed with duality, even in our sleep we look at the duality in the form of dreams. We look at all this dual world, and that's all we know. So to explain to someone that what is Advait, the only way to, best way to explain is say, what is non-dual? And that itself still is not enough to really explain to someone. But it gives you some indication that where all these differences merge, all these differences disappear. Difference between me and you, between me and the walls, or me and the rocks, all these differences merge. There is one cementing factor that combines all these things, and that was the discovery of our ancient rishis. When you reach to the state of enlightenment, you reach that state which is nothing but a formless consciousness. Because if I want to merge with you, my form and your form will interact. Husband and wife, girlfriend and boyfriend, lovers, they want to merge with each other. They cannot. At physical level, merging is not possible. Okay, at the mind level, maybe it's possible, say you find the best girlfriend who has perfect ideas, the same as you, same interest as you, your eating habits are the same. So okay, at the thought level, you merge. But still there is going to be some differences you will find, that you like this and she likes that. But at the spiritual level, the real merging takes place. Say you drink a glass of water when it's very hot outside, and you have a nice cold glass of water. The water goes inside and merges with you. Within seconds, it's traveling along with your blood throughout your body. It becomes part of you. Your heart is beating, the water is moving along with that blood. Now, how close that is, that it becomes part of you. Imagine merging with any other forms like that. Girlfriend and boyfriend cannot do that. So even that much closeness can be achieved by water, cannot be achieved by the other forms. So merging at the physical levels is very little likely. But the higher you go, the less your differences start falling apart. And then you start accepting everything. Because only, like if I have to accept you, I have to let go certain things. At mind level, if I have to accept you, I might have to let go certain things. Say, I may not like certain things about you, fine, it's okay, but you're my friend. Or something like this. Or then, but okay, so if you're a friend, but what if I want to hug you and show my friendship? Friendship can be expressed by physical contact, right? But how about if I want to hug you for 2 minutes? Fine. But how about 5 minutes? How about half an hour? Then you're going to push me out. He says, come on, enough is enough. Right? too close for comfort. So at the physical levels, there are problems. But if I live at the spiritual level, merging is possible, because it's an infinite space that has a capacity to include everybody. We are bogged at the physical level with a lot of ideas, a lot of beliefs, a lot of likes, a lot of dislikes. I may not like my neighbor because he or she or whatever may be like that. But if you really look at the spiritual level, it's all set up by the existence. Existence, the consciousness has created them. And God has been putting up with that neighbor for whatever number of years that he or she has been living. So if you start merging at the Advait level, your horizon broadens and you start accepting everybody as a part of you. So Advait is a state which puts you in a very high, broad, infinite dimension that all the differences for your day-to-day life, they disappear. And what is the purpose of doing that? My differences with the rest of the world are the cause of suffering. They are the cause of my irritation with some people, intolerance, literally even sometimes hatred, anger, liking, disliking. If I like something, I'm going to run after it. If I dislike something, I'm going to run away from it. If I dislike somebody, I may not be decivilized and expressed, but inside I may be boiling with anger. I don't like this. All these things disappear at the Advait level.
That's why it says accept as it is.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Right.
Whatever is there, you to accept it.
Right.
That's it. I don't like your nature. Okay, you accept it.
Accept it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then that is basically a meditation in practicality. In meditation, what do? Thoughts come. You become an observer. So the same way in day-to-day life, if you start accepting everybody as they are,
Yeah.
right? Now it can be achieved in two different ways. One, if Guruji tells us that accept it, and I accept it.
Yeah.
But at the physical level, I might accept it. At mental level, I may not be able to accept it.
Yeah.
That's why physical level leave that.
Right.
You have to accept in mental level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now, even at the mental level, there's going to be a conflict.
Yeah.
Well, it all depends. I'm not saying everybody will have a conflict. But for example, at the mind level, you want to accept something. But deep inside your mind, you have some dislikes. Right?
Yeah.
So one part of the mind is telling you that, okay, Guruji has told me that you accept it.
Yeah.
But my other part of the mind is telling me that I don't like this. At the very sukshma level, at the very subtle level, there's going to be a conflict.
Yeah.
There's going to be a conflict. But there is an easier solution to that.
Oh yeah.
And that is what everybody should do, right? Is to spend time in the meditation and do the dhyan, right? Instead of following the instructions of Guruji. I'm not saying don't follow. There's nothing wrong with the instructions. But it should not be interpreted as instruction given by someone else and I'm trying to follow. Instead of that, create your own instructions. When you spend time within yourself and you meditate, little by little, you start realizing your infinite soul nature. As you go within and you start observing your thoughts, along with the thoughts, the mind and everything start becoming distant, and you start separating yourself as a formless soul. And at the formless soul, you would say the differences that I used to think and that I have with my neighbors or friends or whatever, they're meaningless.
Meaningless. I think that's what I prefer.
That's what, and that makes it easier. Now, it becomes your experience. Before, what you were doing was you were
Guruji
following the instructions of Guruji, and nothing wrong with that. He is an experienced soul, but he cannot give you the experience.
You have to
He
feel
can
it.
only tell you what is the best thing to do, because he's speaking from his heart. But that's not your heart. You know what I'm saying? So following instructions happens at the mind level. But if you
Go above
spend
mind.
enough time and the meditation, and you go within yourself, and you start really realizing what you are inside, and you realize your infinite potential, infinite existence nature, the rest of the things seem so meaningless, because now you are all of a sudden you find yourself, you are so big. You are totally formless. You are so silent. You accept all the languages. You are so formless. You are so unlimited. So limitations of likes and dislikes and all that will seem meaningless. Then you would say, why even talk about it? Why talk about the differences? So that's what I'm trying to say. That following the instructions has its own problems too. And believe me, nothing wrong with that. But we have to understand the limitations of that too.
When I sit in the meditation,
Right.
too many unnecessary thoughts are coming.
Exactly.
So I'm afraid
It's
actually.
so it's
Right.
supposed to do that.
Along with those,
I'm afraid to, oh my,
Right.
and I don't need this thought, but
that's
it's coming.
fine.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the thoughts that come, some of them you're calling unnecessary. Some of them you might actually like it, right? Say, okay, Guruji has told me to do this, and I'm doing it. But those are also thoughts. Eventually, you want to realize your infinite, formless soul where the thoughts don't exist.
But that's natural, isn't it?
It is. It is.
It's
Absolutely
supposed to do
natural.
that. If you're not doing that, that means something's wrong.
Right, exactly. So that's fine too. The thoughts will come because that's the nature of the mind. Mind is created to create the thoughts. And you will never be able to fight the mind. Because fighting the
Accept
mind
it.
is another thought. How do I fight the mind?
Is accepted.
It's an acceptance is so much easier.
Let them come.
Even
Let
at the
them-
mind level, you let them come.
Let them come.
Right? Now, it's like the water, for example. Now, the problem with the mind is so very delicate. It's very chanchal. It's very unstable. Keeps thinking this, keeps thinking that. It's like a monkey. It keeps jumping around all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it is almost like water. It's very fluid. You give it a little tilt,
Mm,
and it
Yeah,
starts
that's
feeling.
why-
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
So
Good morning.
the water is
You're
very
right.
fluid.
You're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, water wants to get rid of its fluidity. How do I do that? We have two
Freeze 'em.
options.
freeze them.
Either you freeze it and make it ice, so now there is no mobility left, right? So we're talking about Advait state of Advait. So the water wants to lose its fluidity. Right now, you have your mind. Mind is very chanchal. Mind is very unstable. You hate the mind. But hating is not going to do anything. You have to find out the solution, right? So one option is to freeze it, make it
Mind.
solid, locked, like the mind of an animal. Animal's mind has not much flexibility. See, we have the capacity to exercise and do a lot of things. Become this and become that and achieve this and achieve that, right? So that's the function of the ego is created. I can do this and I can do that, all these things. But at the same time, ego has to make choices too. A lot of times the choices are wrong. We make mistakes, then we are unhappy. Ego makes you realize that you made a mistake, so now you're going to fix it. All this goes on all their life. So people want to escape the ego. People want to escape the mind. So what do? They drink, they smoke. They want to forget.
Yeah.
They want to forget where they don't have to make decisions anymore. Once I have a black label, first or second or third, it's easy. Life becomes so easy that
You don't
now
care.
mind is not needed anymore. It's almost like animal's mind. Animal's mind says, as long as I get my food and I go by the day, I'm fine. Basic sexual instincts are met, I'm fine. All the senses are covered, I'm fine. So that's one aspect of the mind you can go down to. That's one way to get rid of the fluidity. Another way is to turn into vapors, turn into steam, which is extremely mobile. It is almost infinite. You expand mind even further into an open space. Now,
Good morning.
the limitation of the water is sublimed. Now you are sublimating to a higher level and turning into a steam, and now expanding. At that time, the fluidity of the water will seem like meaningless. Because now you have expanded so much. And unfortunately, what happens is the evolution has thrown so much energy at our mind level, and mind has become so powerful, it's not easy for it to go back. How long can you stay drunk? How long can you keep forgetting that you have to progress? Inside urge is just gonna keep happening. Once you are a bird, you cannot withdraw back into the stem. The bird has to open up sooner or later. So evolution from inside keeps kicking you. So fluid level of the mind, the only outlet is to expand and become a steam. And that's the role of spirituality, where the spirituality lets you expand and realize your infinite potential.
Very good example.
Right? So that's the best way. So Advait includes Dvait. Advait is all-inclusive. And that
Dvait.
includes...
What is the meaning of Dvait?
Dvait is the duality.
Dvait means two.
Dvait means two. That's what I said. At the physical level, we have differences. You and I are different. Him and I are different. I am somebody else is different. All these differences, they are there, but at the same time, we have to realize that's all included in the Advait. Advait encompasses everything. It's like a dream. You have a dream at night, right? In the dream, you travel to Singapore or
India.
Switzerland, India, whatever. You wake up in the morning, you're still the same place. What happened to that travel? Now, you cannot say that dreams don't exist. Dreams do exist. So does this world. But is it a reality? No. So when you start realizing the Advait state, the Dvait will be still there. But you will realize that it's like a dream.
Okay.
Whatever is constantly changing, how can it be real? You go to bed and then you start having a dream. The dream is created out of nothing. There was nothing there. You saw the dream and the dream ends. What happened to the dream? Where did it come from? Where did it go? No clue. It was the trick of the mind. Same way, this world is a
Biggest
trick
trick.
of the mind.
Bigger dream.
It's a bigger dream.
A dream of consciousness.
Exactly. The dream at night was your dream, and now the dream that you are part of it, literally, is the dream of the consciousness. Advait, the consciousness, the Paramatma, is seeing this dream, and we are part of it. So once you realize that dream state, see, to see the dream, you have to be asleep. That's the only way you can see the dream. You cannot see the dream and be awake at the same time. Right? So, the awareness, you have to raise your own awareness to such a level that you can be in the sansar and realize that it's a dream. So that's a very unique situation. So for that, you have to come out of that power of Dvait. That power of Dvait is called Maya. Maya is the illusion. We are under the illusion that this is real. And that's where the problem comes in. So once you realize that this is not real and the real reality is something else, then this will seem an illusion. So if you are in a dark room and you want the light, you just have to open the window.
Window.
The window is our mind. Our mind is so occupied with the Dvait, and we, from the morning, in the morning we wake up, we continuously deal with duality, with Dvait all the time, and we never come out of that mesmerism, as if almost like attending a magic show, that we continuously seeing this magic, and we keep seeing it, we keep believing in it, and we never come out of it. So meditation gives you an opportunity to step back and look at this as an illusion. But that's you're gonna look as an illusion only if you realize that there is something bigger than that. There is something better than that. There is something, it's like when you are seeing the dream, to you it's very real. When you are part of the dream, you're going all those places. But when you come out, you laugh. It was so silly, right? So all this world, which is made out of two things, time and space, right? All that is going around is factor of time and space. So the time and space were creation that existed only because of the duality. The space exists to define the space between you and me. And that creates a separateness between you and me. If there was no space between you and me, we will merge. But we cannot merge only because of the existence of the space. Whatever time we're having right now, 2 hours later, we'll be talking about this as if it was a past. The concept of time exists only at the mind level. So we have to realize that before the Big Bang, there was nothing there. It was just one plain existence, right? From that, the whole universe came out and all that. But the time and space were created at the same time. Along with the matter that came out of nothing, E equal to mc square, energy converted into matter. And along with the matter was created the time and space. Now, so the time and space can be an illusion. It is an illusion, right? In the mind, in your dream, sometimes you see a dream, say, I was 6 feet tall. Maybe that was your desire to be 6 feet tall. All of a sudden, your height increased. But did it? You're still sleeping at 5 feet or whatever. And then you say, I was running at 100 miles an hour. I was flying in the space or whatever. All that illusion was an interplay of time and space. Time and space.
Chanta se.